G'day everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of the Pressure Point podcast. Potentially my favourite episode so far, coming off the weekend that was in footy. How good was it?
Oh, I tell you what, apart from the two early games on Sunday, it was an unreal round of football, and you would be bouncing right now.
Oh, mate, it's just over 12 hours since the Blues dominated the Dogs and arguably their best performance in a few years. So it was great. Still buzzing from it. It was very impressive. Very good to see. And we're in the 8 for the first time in 7 years.
Some unfamiliar territory for you?
It's ridiculous. It's good. It's good to see. It's it looks like the Blues have finally turned the corner, which is good.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Unlike
some.
Yeah, unlike some. But yeah, like as you just mentioned with the it was a good round of footy apart from those two Sunday games, including the Richmond game that you had a close eye on.
Awful game of football to watch. That was disgusting. It was, look, obviously it was good to get a win from a Tigers perspective, but it was just a bad game of football.
It was. I mean, like, the first quarter looked good. Richmond kicked 3 quick goals, and it looked like that the Tigers are back here. They're playing some good footy.
Yeah, I thought, here we go. Yeah. Here we go, we're on. And then, I don't know.
It was wet.
A bit of wet weather footy, which normally we're pretty good in, though, I would have thought. So it was unfortunate to see us not handle that too well. And then, I don't know, there's some talk about Sydney's game style, etc., but I'll touch more on that a bit later.
Yeah, we'll get into the Richmond game a bit later, but yeah, it was a good round of footy. There were some really good games, and a lot of close games too, which was good to see. It was just a shame with those couple of games on the Sunday, but we'll get into the games a bit later. A big talking point though from the weekend has been the head high bumps. It's there's been 5 of them over the weekend, so it's been a little bit concerning for the AFL.
Oh, definitely. And I think just the inconsistencies with the ruling and then the match review panel and all that, it's unbelievable. I don't understand how one player can get 2 weeks and another player with an almost identical incident gets nothing or a fine. Do you agree, or do you think they're all sort of, evenly fair?
I think it's all outcome based. Honestly, it honestly is. I think the reason why Ben Long's one has been sent straight to the tribunal is because Sean Darcy was knocked out and didn't play the rest of the game. And then you look at, Shiel gets an automatic 2 weeks, mainly because the player that he got, he ended up playing out the game. But I think if, he was completely concussed, then Shiel probably would have gone straight to the tribunal. Then you look at Gary Rowan, only got a fine, just as bad as the other ones.
Oh, ridiculous. He cleaned him up.
Yeah, so it's all outcome based for me, and I don't think that's good enough. I think David King said, last night, that it should be an automatic 4 weeks for anyone that elects to hit someone in the head or just go off the footy like that.
Well, they're trying to take it out of the game. If they want head high hits out of the game, there's only one way to do it, and that's to start handing some harsh penalties down.
Yeah.
I mean, Marlon Pickett, another one with a big bump on the weekend, Isaac Heaney. I'm happy to see him get suspended for a couple of weeks, but I also want to see Rowan get suspended, Ebert get suspended. I want to see all of them cop fines. I mean, not fines, suspensions.
Yeah.
If some of them are getting away with it and some aren't, then I want to see get some answers and ask why there's no consistency.
Well, I'll read through a couple of names. Well, I'll read through all the ones that got looked at over the weekend. I'll give you their name and you let me know what they should have gotten. All right, Dylan Shiel.
2 weeks was good.
Yep. Yeah, me too. I completely agree. Ben Long.
I reckon he should get 4.
Yep. I'm thinking 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brad Ebert.
At least 1, I reckon.
I think 1. Yeah.
I think 1.
Yeah. Because he didn't cause too much. Again, it's outcome based. If you're going to go what they're saying, he didn't cause too much damage to the player.
Yeah, so, no, exactly. Yeah. I think 1 though, for sure.
Gary Rowan's already been suspended, but we obviously don't agree with it.
Well, he got fined, I think. Yeah.
Was a fine.
I'm pretty sure it was just a fine from what I read, unless I've misread something.
No, I think it was actually. No, you're right. It was just a fine. Yeah. So he's probably the luckiest bloke going around.
I think he should have 2.
Yeah.
I saw that hit. He should have 2.
Yeah.
So, and he was 2 separate incidences with Gary Rowan. One was was fair enough for a fine, but another one was definitely worth 2 weeks.
Yeah. Marlon Pickett.
1.
Yeah. I think 1.
I'd be happy for none, but yeah.
I think 1 max.
But 1. Yeah. It was a late hit. He didn't mean to, but he got head high contact. I mean, but no one ever does mean to hit head high. So
exactly.
It's unfortunate, but definitely 1.
Yeah. I think the Shiel one is probably the worst of that lot.
Yeah,
Come on. Yeah.
Probably. I mean, I saw people trying to compare the Dylan Shiel hit to previous hits. I mean, someone compared it to a hit where Dylan Shiel got cleaned up in the preliminary final 2 years ago.
Shocking comparison.
Which, for starters, I'll say, one, it was 2.5 years ago. Get over it.
Yeah.
All right, it was a long time ago. Two, when Cochin hit Dylan Shiel in the prelim final, he had his eyes completely on the footy, and Shiel's head was completely fine. It was his shoulder that got dislocated or whatever it was back then. So, completely different incidences. You just got to watch the replays to know what you're on about.
Completely different. Unless Shiel goes past the ball and elects to bump.
Exactly right. Yeah. Whereas when Cochin went for it, he actually grabbed the football as he made contacts, and he's looking dead at the ball. So, completely different. And like I said, it was 2.5 years ago. I think we can move on from that.
Shocking comparison. Whoever said that one just needs to have a good hard look at themselves. All right, so we'll move on to the next point. The Luke McDonald COVID sledge. How good was it?
I love this. I loved it. And I heard that Ray Shaw came and said that Luke McDonald rang Conor McKenna and apologised and all that.
Disgusting.
That's soft, isn't it?
Oh, mate. We need some personality in this game.
Exactly right. And you don't see it much anymore because they're so restricted and everyone gets in trouble for everything. I think if he came out and he said something racist, homophobic, sexual, whatever, that's one thing. But he made a slight jab at an incident that happened, and it wasn't even like Connor, suffered from the sickness of the disease. It was just like all media speculation. So I think it's all harmless fun. I'd be surprised if Connor really took it to heart as well. And even if he did, I think you can get over it.
It's
a little bit.
not like Conor McKenna was on his deathbed, really struggling with it. He was asymptomatic.
Yeah,
it's not like he copped a bit of flack for it in the media, but come on, I reckon it's just play on.
It's 100%, 100%. I mean, for Luke McDonald to apologise, look, if he's done that off his own bat, good luck to him. But I think it's all a bit of harmless fun, and I think the game almost needs a bit more of that sort of thing.
For sure, I loved it.
You can look back to even when Sam Mitchell did the classic jab in the arm to the Essendon players, or Dustin Martin did the old snort and coke to Shane Mumford. I think it's just a bit of fun. Players like to have jabs at each other. So
I'm all for it. I love it. And then again, I think we said this last week as well. There's no real team that's really standing out. It seems to be a really open premiership race, doesn't it?
Oh, a team that's not even sitting in the top 8 right now could come and win the flag.
Yeah.
Think about West Coast, GWS, just two teams I've mentioned. They're not in the top 8 right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's honestly, it's too hard to pick. A tip into a tip into premiership winner now would be almost impossible.
Yeah, like a couple of weeks ago we said, Port Adelaide look really, really good. I mean, they still do, but they didn't look overly impressive on the weekend, and then they did get beat the week before. And then there's Brisbane, who they seem to be, just winning at home and not being able to win away. So it's hard to really get a gauge on who's going to take out the flag this year. It's all just really open.
Oh, no.
So it's like, is the competition good, or is just everyone just average?
I think everyone's a little bit average.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's hard to pick.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well. But I think the next point is the constant changes in rule interpretations. I think this is more your domain. You seem pretty passionate about this one.
I'm sick of the rules at the moment. I mean, Matthew Richardson came out and posted the other day. He said the same thing. Is there any other game in the world that has constant changes to the rule interpretations like we do? Yeah. 4 weeks ago, they were saying that no one was paying holding the ball. It was no one being rewarded for their tackles. Now a player grabs it within half a second, has been dropped to the ground. 2 95-kilo men are on top of him. He gets pinned holding the ball because he didn't try to get rid of it. You try to get rid of it with someone it. Now you're getting done holding the ball and you don't even have a chance to get rid of it. I think that's just one of the examples. The holding the ball rule has been the most prominent in the last couple of weeks because everyone's too scared to get the footy now.
Yeah.
No one wants to grab it because and everyone's tapping it on and punching it forward instead of grabbing it because I know if they grab it and they get tackled straight away, that's it. They're gone.
Yeah.
I think, I know the umpires have a tough job, but it's not, how is the holding the ball that hard of a rule to interpret,
It's ridiculous, isn't it? I think Clarko had a bit to do with that, didn't he, the other week when he came out and said it?
Yeah, he came out and said no one's getting rewarded, and then sure enough, they turned it around and everyone's getting rewarded for hardly doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they just need to when they change the rules, just keep them in place for a couple of seasons, 2-3 seasons.
Oh, at least.
Just otherwise the players and umpires are just going to get too confused over it, and it's just going to, show things like this.
Oh, no one knows what's going on. I mean, it's a different rule, but only a couple of weeks ago, Eddie Betts got a 90-metre penalty against him for a new rule that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, exactly.
How are the players not hearing of these new rules? And nor the commentators, the spectators, anyone. just things like that. You can't be doing that mid-season.
Yeah, no.
It's hard enough to, I know they're trying to expand the game overseas and teach you people about the game. If we don't even know what's going on, how are we supposed to tell anybody else?
Exactly right. Yeah, as I said, they just need to just stick with it for a couple of seasons and just don't change it week by week because it's just confusing everyone and it's causing way too much controversy for mine.
Well, it's the best game in the world. The worst thing to do is to leave it as is.
Yeah, correct. It's unique for a reason, so just leave it. But yeah, we'll get into the games now. So it was, as we said, a really exciting round for the majority of it. And it all started back on Thursday night with Geelong and Brisbane at the SCG. It was pretty much a game of two halves. Like Brisbane were really good in the first half and then Geelong just dominated the second half. And it comes back to the point of Brisbane flat track bullies.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they can win away from the Gabba at the moment. I'm not taking it away from they're a good side, but yeah, they just don't seem as consistent for full 4 quarters as what they do when they're at home at the Gabba.
Yeah. That's exactly what it looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So it's, I remember seeing this. There was a passage of play that Brisbane were playing, and they just looked elite. They were playing very, very good footy in that first half, and after half time, they just completely stopped. And then Geelong's best players got involved, like Dangerfield. Ablett, who was questioned by the commentary in the second quarter, came out after half time and just showed why he's the greatest player of all time.
Oh, which, mind you, we added to our feedback question the other week. A lot of people seem to think he's not the greatest player of all time. So
they also need to have a good hard look at themselves. Exactly. Yeah. So their best players came to the party, and they ended up running away with a pretty comfortable win in the end. So I think that puts Geelong back up into the premiership race, I think.
Oh, definitely. Geelong have had a couple of games that, the people have questioned them. I mean, going back all the way to the Carlton game again, they lost to Carlton at home, which normally wouldn't happen.
Yep.
Gold Coast last week gave them a good run in Geelong, which, would normally never happen. So people were questioning them. I think this win over Brisbane was needed.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go to the votes in that game. I gave 1 vote to Tom Hawkins, 2 votes to Sam Simpson, who was very impressive and he's only played a handful of games, and 3 votes to Patrick Dangerfield, who's on the board for the first time this season with the pressure point voting.
He might be making a late run.
He is. So see how he goes. All right, we'll move on to Friday night. It was the game between Collingwood and Hawthorn at Giant Stadium, and geez, this was a very one-sided game, wasn't it?
Oh, unbelievably one-sided. I mean, Collingwood coming in with how many players not in, and not even top-end players not playing as well. You'd think Hawthorn, especially the way they've been playing lately, would have made it a good contest, but they ended up finishing the game with their lowest score since 1975.
Ridiculous, wasn't it? Absolutely crazy stuff. They just looked
sloppy.
They look so poor, Hawthorn. Like really bad. You can just imagine Clarko being filthy with that too.
Oh, they would have copped a spray after the game for sure. It'll be a tough week down at Waverley Park.
Yeah, for sure. Well, no, not Waverley Park. Where are they?
Oh, yeah.
Sydney?
Geez, they're in Sydney. Yeah, geez. The season's
hard
still
to get used to,
I'm
isn't
still
it?
not used to it.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Collingwood were just equally as impressive. Adam Trelaw was back. What did he get? 35 touches?
35 touches.
In a short game? That's incredible.
Yeah. He's really, announced that he's back in a big way.
Yeah. And then, Will Kelly was good on debut, kicked his first goal, then finished the game with a terrible elbow injury, which looked disgusting.
Oh, it looked like it was falling off.
Yeah, it was bad. It was very very sour for him to finish the game like that because I thought he had a really good debut.
Especially with his first kick as well was his first goal.
Yeah.
So, nothing better.
Yeah.
And then,
He's a good size too. Looks like he'll be a really good player for the Pies.
Oh, definitely.
But we'll go to the votes. So we'll go 1 vote to James Sicily, 2 votes to Brody Myercheck, and 3 votes to Adam Trelaw. All right, so the game on the Saturday, which was between Freo and St Kilda, again, the Saints at quarter time looked elite, and then they got embarrassed, absolutely embarrassed after that, and Freo just went all over them.
Oh, it was shocking to see. I couldn't believe it. I thought the Saints were off to a flyer. They've been good all year for the most part. And Freo, obviously haven't been that flash. I thought, here we go, another blowout. And then, it's just like Saints hit the brakes and Freo hit the pedal and they just took off.
It did. And there's a lot of very frustrated Saints supporters after that as well. We've actually got one on the line who wants to give us a fair spray about the Saints. All right, so I've got my good old mate Richo Costantino on the line here. He's going to talk us through the Saints game on the weekend. Richo, how are you, mate?
Boys. I'm going all right. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast. I'm actually a little bit nervous.
You're the debut guest. There's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and I thought I'm going to be a part of something pretty special today. But it's unfortunate in the circumstances that I'm being a part of this podcast, really.
It is unfortunate circumstances. The Saints, an absolute emotional roller coaster of a club, aren't they? Talk us through your emotions from Saturday.
They've been an emotional roller coaster for 130 years, mate. Look, it's typical Saints, isn't it? The way we played on the weekend, really.
Well, what happened after quarter time?
What happened, mate? They went to sleep. We just have this great habit of building up just genuine hope and just giving the fans everything that they think they ever wanted, and then 5 minutes later, you're actually thinking, how do I barrack this team?
Gee, that's strong. That is strong.
And Saints supporters are all suckers for it, because we see all of this, the hope that gets created, and we fall for it every single time. I think we need to just manage our own expectations, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that first quarter, we looked like the premiership favourite.
I did see a quote from one of our other mates saying that you said that the Saints were officially elite.
I actually sent multiple text messages after that first quarter. I said to someone, I said to two different people, Saints are officially elite. and 45 minutes later, I had thrown my scarf in the bin and I walked out the front door.
Oh, God, that's good. That is good. But to be fair, though, that first quarter was very impressive.
It was good. We were on, Butler kicked us a nice goal. I actually was in the car listening to most of the first quarter. I was racing home, thinking, we're on for a massive win today. We've got Freo. They've been in their quarantine, whatever they're doing in Gold Coast for 5 straight weeks. The Saints are fresh. We've had an 11-day break. And we served up the best first quarter of the year. And then served up the worst second quarter of all time.
Yeah, it was alarming, very alarming. As I said to you the other day, I think Freo aren't that great at all, and you made them look very good.
I just hate how it brings all the question marks back on the Saints now.
Yeah, it does.
We've got the 6-week lockdown happening. I'm thinking all I want to do every week is sit down and watch the Saints win every week. And now I don't know if that's going to be happening. I actually get this. I've tipped the Crows next week.
No, you haven't.
Oh, no.
I've tipped the Crows.
No, you have not.
And I don't know if you or Quinn are going to go Saints next week. I hope you do, but I've lost faith. We're at Adelaide Oval. They'll have a crowd. I'm scared. You've come off 2 good wins against Richmond and Carlton, and now you're not tipping them against Adelaide. And then we're going to lose because only the Saints could then lose to the bottom 2 sides.
Oh, God, that's great.
It's sour, but you got things like Dan Hanbury, fix your hamstrings. Play more than 6 games in a row, please.
It was always a big risk getting him, though, wasn't it?
It was, but can't we just have a little bit of luck?
Yeah, I know. Especially, I know exactly what you mean. It's just, yeah.
As a Blues man, you know what I'm talking
about. I know, exactly. That's why I feel everything you're saying right now, because it's, right now I'm very excited with Carlton, but next week we could lose by
I'm telling you
15
right
goals.
Now, from a man who's been in your position, it's all good. It feels all good right now, Marcus, but I need you to lower those expectations.
Oh, I know.
Who the Blues got next week?
We've got Port Adelaide, actually.
Oh, just drop them.
I called you up for a St Kilda report, not a Carlton report. Thanks, mate. So just.
What do you reckon, Quinn? Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment?
Oh, look, yeah, I reckon so. Porter in pretty fine form at the moment, so.
I don't expect the Blues to win that, but.
No, that's good. As long as you don't.
But if we're playing Adelaide, I'd probably tip us though, unlike you.
The way I see it is if we win now, I'll be happy. I might be fussed about losing the tip, but if I get the tip, at least it's a little solace, from a shocking week. Maybe I'll chuck 100. I might even chuck 100 on the Crows.
Oh, God. All right. It's getting outrageous now. Well, that is exactly what we're after here on the podcast, aren't we, Quinn?
That's
this
exactly
sort
right.
of passion.
We want that raw emotion. It's good.
No, I love it, Richo.
Well, if we can get to the end of the year and we've won more games than we've lost, I think that's where we're at. I think
you should still play finals.
I'll cop that. If we can finish 8th, I'll cop it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Rich. It's been much appreciated, and you've given us everything we've asked for, and
more.
And more.
Call me when the Saints win next time.
If St Kilda lose to Adelaide next week,
and I'll tell you how good Dan Annebury is.
All right. Thanks, Richo.
See ya, boys.
Thanks, Richo.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Thanks for that, Richo. Love your work, mate. So we'll go to the votes for the game. We'll go 1 vote to Rory Lobb, 2 votes to Andrew Brayshaw, and 3 votes to Michael Walters. All right, so the other game on the Saturday was between West Coast and Adelaide at the Gabba. Another boring performance from the Crows, wasn't it?
Oh, they're just... I have to really push myself to watch these games. They're just unexciting, aren't they?
Yeah, it's they've really played West Coast into form there, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, especially West Coast about to fly back home. They wanted to win, up north, so it was good for them to get it. But yeah, Adelaide just didn't really give them much of a contest.
Yeah, I think the only good thing coming out from Adelaide was the performance from Riley O'Brien and getting a new phone from Nick Nat as well.
Right, let me tell you, Riley O'Brien had to have a good performance.
He had to.
He had to back that up. I don't know. Do you reckon that was accidentally leaked? How does a phone break and tweet by itself?
I don't get that. Well, your phone just malfunctions and just goes to Twitter and just tweets his notes.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
And they were the only notes that came out. Yeah. I don't know. It seems a bit... I mean, I'd be more inclined to believe that a teammate tweeted him on,
Yeah, exactly.
Did it to annoy him or something like that.
Do you know why he apologised? Like, why did he need to apologise for that?
I think he just wanted to defend himself and say that, like, he wasn't having a dig at Nick Nat. Because he didn't want to make it look like a personal attack, I feel.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
I mean, it was all harmless fun. What do you see? He called him unfit.
Yeah, he called him lazy and unfit.
Yeah, I mean, in today's times, you probably have to apologise for everything you do that's
true.
not
That is true.
straight
Everyone's
line,
soft these days, aren't they? But yeah, it was a pretty comfortable win for the Eagles. But we'll go to the votes. So we gave 1 vote to Riley O'Brien, who we thought was really good against Nick Nat. 2 votes to Brodie Smith, and 3 votes to Tim Kelly, who's on the board for the first time as well this season.
Our big man.
Voting. Yeah, so it's taken a while to reach some form in his new club. We'll move on to the Saturday night game. So this was between Melbourne and the Gold Coast. Pretty entertaining game, this one. I mean, the D's, it was very close for most of the game. The D's were able to pull away late. But I think the story from this game is the debut from Isaac Rankin. Oh my God.
Boy, oh boy.
Oh, he's going to be some serious player, isn't he?
That man is an absolute talent.
Oh, it was... it was crazy. And I think he's, Matt Rowell goes out, Isaac Rankin comes in, and he's just, different players, but having very similar impacts.
Oh, I'm disappointed we're not going to see, haven't seen them together.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he was just phenomenal. He looked like he'd been playing for a long time in the league and just, I don't know, he was just working some serious magic.
Yeah, he looked incredible. His 3 goals that he kicked were crazy, especially his first one.
Oh, and he could have had 4 or 5. He missed a couple of shots as well.
Yeah, he looks very exciting, and it's showing that 2018 draft is going to be one of those super drafts, I think, when we look back in 10 years' time. Been a lot of talent out of there. But another good thing from that night, from a Melbourne point of view, was Harley Bennell kicking his first goal right on the final siren as well.
Oh, that was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was good. It's so good to see for him. You could see how relieved he looked after he kicked it, but it was... That's a good footy story there.
For sure.
We love a good footy story here in the Pressure Point podcast.
Oh, we love them.
But that was really nice to see.
Yeah, they flocked him. So it was, and you could see the emotion coming out of his eyes as well. It was really good to see. And a big win for Melbourne as well. They definitely needed that, because if they lost that, they would have, the blowtorch would have come onto them during the week.
100%. 100%. I'll just say, though, it was funny to see, the team flocked him after he kicked his first goal for the D's, and then they all stood a few feet apart while they were singing the song at the end of the game, because I'm sure it makes a big difference.
It's baffling. Don't
we won't start you on that. We won't start you.
But we'll move on to the votes for that game. We gave 1 vote to Isaac Rankin, 2 votes to Max Gawn, and 3 votes to Christian Petrarca, who's having a very, very good season. All right, so the other game on the Saturday night, it was Essendon and North Melbourne at Metricon Stadium. Jeez, Essendon. I think they could be the best team of 2020. What do you reckon?
I hate to say it, but honestly, you know what, they've won 4 out of their 5 games, and it's still a game they haven't played, and that's only against Melbourne, who aren't really, showing much of a contest. So, yeah, I hate to say it, but I think they are at the moment. They're just in form.
They're sitting fourth with a game in hand.
Yeah, exactly right. So, unless they start dropping off, I think if they continue this way, they're definitely going to be premiership contenders.
I'm sure you'd love to see it, wouldn't you?
I think of a few things I'd love to see. Speaking of, Dylan Shiel out for 2 weeks. But they were pretty inaccurate early, Essendon. I think they kicked 11 points before the half was done, and then after that they only kicked 2 more points, and then the rest were goals. So they really cleaned up after half-time and got a solid win.
They did. And I think North were very bad, which helped Essendon a lot. I think if Essendon were playing a better team, they could have lost that game with their inaccuracy and all that sort of stuff. So I think North have got a few issues. Not sure what's happened to them after round 2 though. As we say this every week, they looked really good early, and then they've lost 4 in a row now.
Yeah, well, a couple of those ones, the Essendon one, they only lost by 2. I think it was 14 points.
Yeah.
They lost to Sydney by a couple of points, Hawthorn by a couple of points, but all those games, they were poor. They had late run against Hawthorn. Sydney's not that great of a side, and they still lost to them. And then the same as Essendon. Essendon didn't play super well, and North, got close. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on in North.
That's weird. I think, the scoreboard shows that they were close, but I don't think they played that. It doesn't reflect the way they played.
No, not at all. Not at all. I was about to say there's some problems at Arden Street, but they're not at Arden Street anymore.
Not there. Where are they?
They're in
Gold
Queensland.
Coast, yeah. All right, so the votes for that game, we gave 1 vote to David Zaharakis, 2 votes to Todd Goldstein, and 3 votes to Andrew McGrath. Big Goldie is flying in our voting, by the way.
He's having a great season.
Great season. He's a shining light for the Kangas. All right, so Sunday we had Port Adelaide and GWS, which we predicted to be the match of the round, and it was close, but it was so low scoring and so defensive.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. It was, like you said, it was a close game, and that was probably it.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
Port was impressive later in the game, but apart from that, there wasn't a whole lot to... Yeah, a whole long to...
There wasn't really. Kane Farrell, who I don't think many people would have heard of, was very, very good for Port Adelaide, playing only, I think it's his 12th game, something like that. He was really good. It's probably the best player on the ground. And then, I think that's all really. And then there was the usual suspects for the Giants, like Nick Haynes and Lockie Whitfield, who played pretty well. But yeah, the game was just too defensive for mine. It was, it seems to be a bit of a trend, isn't it, with the teams at the top of the ladder just playing a bit like that.
Yeah, I feel like they just try and stop the other team from scoring rather than attacking themselves, which I don't think it's great football to watch. And that seemed to be a trend of Sunday night games as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's I don't know. It on paper that game looked amazing, but it just didn't live up to it. But in saying that, Porter back on top, and they're looking, quite good. And I think they're definitely going to finish in the top 4, I think.
Oh, looking like it 100%. It was good to see them get a win against a team that's, they're not sitting in the top 8 at the moment, but they're looking like a strong side. So it was good to see them get a win.
Yeah. Our votes for the game. So we gave 1 vote to Nick Haynes, 2 votes to Lockie Whitfield, and 3 votes to Kane Farrell. All right, so the Richmond game. Richmond versus Sydney at the Gabba. Ugly, ugly, ugly football that was. I'll let you take the floor for this one.
I'll take the reins. It was an ugly game of football to watch, as you said 3 times. It was just boring. The game started. It looked like Richmond were going to be off to a fly. Kicked 3 goals in the first 10 minutes. I think it might have been. Playing that sort of pressure football that Richmond are so famously known for. It looked exciting, and then that was it. And then Sydney kicked a goal. So 4 goals in the first quarter, especially this year, isn't too bad of a game. And then from then on, it was just awful. No one was scoring. Sydney flooded the back line. As Damien Hardwick said, they had about 75,000 people down back. Richmond were trying to play attacking footy, but it didn't matter what we did. They had too many blokes down there to, amount any sort of score. And it showed because Sydney recorded their lowest score since 1988. So it just goes to show how, little they were worrying about attacking. But no, it's still good. Richmond, undermanned, obviously, with a few big names not playing, still managed to pinch a win out there. And some bad news for the Swans is Isaac Heaney's out for the season. And Kennedy, He's out for 6. So
Huge.
6
Huge.
weeks, not 6 seasons.
Yes, 6 weeks. Yeah, which is just almost the whole season, isn't it?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, they're huge losses for Sydney. But yeah, I think the good thing about Richmond is that if you can pinch wins like this with all those players out, and you just showed what you did last year when all your players came back in, you're unstoppable. So I think if you can, doesn't matter how you win it, if you can win games with all those players out, just get the job done.
Oh, look, for us, I mean, in my eyes, exactly. A win's a win. It was ugly football. I didn't really enjoy watching the game until the final siren went. But
arguably the worst game of the season.
Oh, yeah, probably is the worst game of the season, I'd have to say.
It's not the first game. And was it Richmond Collingwood round 2 was probably just as bad. So bit of a trend with the Tigers, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not producing some great football at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, we tried to against the Swans, but they made it hard. So
yeah.
What did you think of the? I don't know if you saw the first goal of the game. The Jack Rewalt got a free kick.
Terrible, wasn't it?
I mean, I'm happy to take it as a Richmond supporter, but that was bad.
That was really bad. Really bad. Like the rule is, if you're under pressure, you can take it over the line.
Jack Rewalt was probably half an inch from touching him. How much closer does he have to? Does he have to kiss him before it to count?
It's ridiculous, isn't it? And then that's another thing with the rules and stuff. It's just inconsistent like that.
I feel like it's hard to change them all now, but too many of our rules are interpretation based rather than like fact. Like, you know what I mean? If you kick a goal and it's touched off someone's hand, that's not an interpretation. It hit his hand.
Yeah.
Whereas this one here, I didn't think he was under pressure.
It's all the umpire's opinion.
Yeah, and I think there's so many of our rules are like that, so it's already hard. But you really start to notice it with decisions like that.
Yeah. All right. So the votes for the game, we gave 1 vote to Nathan Broad, 2 votes to Jake Lloyd, and 3 votes to Jaden Short. All right. So
I'll step out with this one. So I'll let you take it.
Save the best game till last. It was Carlton and the Bulldogs at Metricon Stadium, and I'm not being biased here, but the Blues were very good. They were very good, very impressive. 4-quarter performance. Right from the first minute, they were all over the Dogs. Just ferocious pressure, ferocious tackling. They were just first to the ball. The Bulldogs love to use the footy. Like, they're very slick with their ball movement, and the Blues just were on them. They didn't allow them to do that. So it was really impressive. And they did it without Cripps having an influence. Cripps hurt his shoulder early and continued to play the game. He ended up with 13 touches. But Cripps this season has been not at his best, and Carlton's playing better. So it just shows that we don't really rely on Cripps too much anymore, which is really good to see.
Well, he's sharing the load now, isn't he?
Definitely. And even Sam Doherty was pretty quiet this week too. So our 2 best players out of the game pretty much, and we're still able to get a really, really good win. Good win. I'm that excited I can't even talk about it. So it was really, to win by 50 points in a short game and score over 100 points.
That's huge.
Was really, really good. Really good to see. And I know a lot of Carlton supporters are super excited after that. You just feel like that sort of win has turned the corner for the club a little bit. We're not just, you could have made a case for those Geelong and Essendon wins as, you only won by a couple of points. It could have easily gone the other way, but I think that form stacks up now. After last night's game.
To beat a team like the Dogs, who aren't a bad side at all, and you beat them by over 50 points, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge, and that really should be a turning point for the club. If the players don't look at that and get some sort of confidence coming out of that game, then I don't know what's going to give them confidence. So I really do think, I agree with you. I reckon that'll 100% be a turning point.
Do you think Carlton can play finals?
I think they can. Yeah, I just don't know if they will. I mean, like, you going back to those Essendon and Geelong games, exceptionally well, you played both those games, but, then you had a game like you had against St Kilda.
It's consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, and if Carlton play like the way they played, against Geelong, Essendon and Bulldogs last night, 100% you guys can play finals, definitely. And, you can hurt some good sides, but it's just all up to consistency for the Blues at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And it was good to see the forward line was functioning really well with Harry McKay having his best game for the season, Levi Casbolt continuing his great form this season, and even Mitch McGovern chipped in too. So it was really good to see. Everything sort of worked. Eddie Betts kicked 4 goals.
Jeez, he's a star.
The people that questioned why we got Eddie Betts, again, need to take a good hard look at themselves. Because, mate, the impact that he can have on a footy team is incredible. Not just his on-field stuff, but his leadership off the field as well. It's good to see.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, speaking of having an impact on footy clubs, he's still having an impact on Adelaide's payroll at the moment, isn't he?
Leading goal kicker on Adelaide's payroll. Thanks a lot, Adelaide. Done well there. But I just want to mention, so 3 players, Jack Martin, Mark Pitnet, and Eddie Betts. Those 3 players have made a massive difference to Carlton's team this season, and Carlton got them for absolutely nothing. Jack Martin came for free in the pre-season draft. We gave Hawthorn a packet of chips for Mark Pitnet, and Eddie Betts is still getting paid by Adelaide.
You've done pretty well.
Unbelievable. So, amazing recruiting by Carlton there, and I know it's only round 6, but showing really good signs this season. So, apart from that round 2 game against Melbourne, where I absolutely blasted them, apart from that, we've been pretty solid.
Well, I think they heard you in that after that round 2 rant because they've played well ever since.
They must have.
But I think the biggest surprise pack out of those 3 players you just mentioned would have to be Pitnet.
Oh,
I mean, Eddie Betts, everyone knows what he can do. People doubted him, but it's Eddie Betts.
But everyone, because of his age.
Yeah. But it's in the day still Eddie Betts, and then Jack Martin, you guys got him for nothing, but he was good at the Gold Coast. But Pitnet, I mean, everyone probably just expected Cruiser to, to play and Pitnet to just sort of back him if they needed, but. I mean, I don't know how, but no one predicted Cruiser injuring himself again. Surely that was just, a given. But yeah, no, Pitnet's really come in and just stepped up big time.
Yeah, he's been incredible. The Blues have done really well there, and I think Jack Martin's going to be leading the best and fairest at the moment too. So he's having a ripping season. But the votes for that game, gave 1 vote to Eddie Betts, 2 votes to Will Setterfield, who's starting to play some good footy now, and 3 votes to Jack Martin, who is also flying on our pressure point voting as well. So that is the games from the round. That was it was good. There was a lot to talk about. It was a great round, very exciting.
Oh, plenty. I'm loving it. I'm loving the footy at the moment, despite some of the poor performances some teams edition. It's just, I think I'm just appreciating having football back now, considering we didn't have it for so long. Yeah,
it's really good, and I think it's round 6 or round 7 next week. I think teams have had enough time to sort of adjust to new game styles and new players and all that. So we're starting to see. Some teams really hitting their straps, so it's exciting. But we'll move on to our new segment that we debuted last week. It's Spot On, Away Off.
It was a bit of a hit, wasn't it?
It was. We had a lot of good feedback for it, so all you guys seem to love it. So we'll continue with it. But I'll kick us off for today's one. Players that elect to bump and connect with the head should get an automatic 4-week suspension.
Spot on. I just personally think if they're trying to rub it out of the game, you can't go on results based, like what happened to the play they hit. You have to just go, nah, he's gone for the head, see you later. So yeah, spot on. Yeah. 100%. All right, we'll go with my first one. The AFL needs to stop changing / trying to fix the interpretation of rules mid-season.
Spot on. Massive spot on for me. As I said, if they're going to change it again, just let them be for a couple of seasons. Yeah. Just so everyone can adjust to it and just avoid all the confusion. So, spot on for mine. Isaac Rankin will be the best player from the 2018 Super Draft.
From the way he played, spot on. I mean, our big man Matt Rao's out for, how long is he out for now? I think Isaac, definitely.
Well, no.
The different drafts, aren't they? Sorry, different drafts. But for the 2018 draft, spot on.
About draft, just quickly. So Sam Walsh was number 1. Jack Lukosius 2, Rankin 3. Max King potentially 4.
I think Max King was
4. And then you got Max King, Ben King.
You got Bailey Smith at 7.
Bailey Smith, Connor Rosie.
Okay,
it's a fair draft. Yeah.
Oh, just based on purely on that one. I mean, he's only had one performance, but based on that,
it's a small sample size. Yeah.
I reckon almost spot on.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one: Sydney's game style on the weekend is more likely to put someone to sleep than chloroform.
Spot on.
Beautiful.
Sydney, they're just known for this defensive, boring style of footy. They've never really been an attractive team to watch.
Oh, it was shocking. And I can't believe John Longmire trying to claim that someone said it in the press conference and he goes, no, we just had our back 6 down there. But if you have a look at the heat map of the game, the whole game was just one half of the ground was flooded with Sydney players. So, I mean, that speaks for itself. The GPS tracking doesn't lie, Mr. Horse Longmire.
Very good. All right, so that wraps up our debate for the week. And that wraps up our episode as well. It's been very good. We've had a lot to talk about. But yeah, please leave us a review. We did notice a few reviews come in over the week, and they're greatly appreciated. So keep them coming in. We love your feedback, and make it as honest as possible. We're loving all the suggestions coming through, and we'll try add them to each episode as we go. And also check us out on YouTube as well. So if you prefer to watch them, check us out on that. You can be found just at Pressure Point Podcast. And other than that, that is us done.
Another big episode.
Yeah, that's it. Another big episode. So tune in in a couple of days' time for our big preview of round 7, and have a good week.
Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure point! Pressure right! Pressure right!